His own brothers threw him into a pit and sat down to eat lunch. Not strangers, not enemies, his own blood. The people who were supposed to protect him watched him scream from the bottom of a hole in the ground and passed the bread. That is where this story begins. His name was Joseph, and before that pit, he had everything. His father loved him more than all his other sons. He had dreams, vivid, impossible dreams, that told him one day everyone around him would bow before him. That's exactly why they hated him. Have you ever been punished for something you were meant to become? They stripped his coat off his back, threw him in, then sold him to slave traders passing by for 20 pieces of silver. 20 pieces of silver. That's what his brothers thought his life was worth. Joseph arrived in Egypt in chains, a slave, everything gone, his home, his father, his future, his freedom. He was starting at zero in a foreign country where nobody knew his name. But here's what the story says that most people skip over. Even as a slave, Joseph worked like he was already a king. He served so faithfully, so excellently, that his master Potiphar put him in charge of everything, from slave to running the entire household. And then it happened again. Potiphar's wife lied about him, falsely accused him of something he never did, and Joseph, who had already lost everything once, lost it all again. This time they threw him in prison. Think about that moment, not once, twice, betrayed by family, then framed by someone he'd done nothing wrong to. If you were Joseph, what would you be thinking in that prison cell at night? That God had forgotten you? That your dreams were a lie? That doing the right thing doesn't actually matter? Joseph had every reason to collapse, every reason to become bitter, every reason to stop believing. But the same thing happened in prison that happened in Potiphar's house. Joseph worked like he was already free, served like he was already in charge, and the warden put him in charge of every prisoner in the jail. The man couldn't be stopped, not by a pit, not by chains, not by prison walls, not by false accusations. Something inside Joseph kept rising, no matter how many times life tried to bury him. Years passed. Then one night, Pharaoh, the most powerful man in the world, had a dream that no one could interpret. And someone remembered. There was a man in prison who understood dreams. They brought Joseph out. He interpreted Pharaoh's dream, 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of famine, and in one single moment, everything changed. Pharaoh looked at this former slave, this man who had been in a pit and a prison, and said, "There is no one as wise and discerning as you." And he put Joseph in charge of all of Egypt, second only to Pharaoh himself, from the bottom of a pit to the second most powerful position on earth. Now here's the part that breaks me every single time. The famine came, and Joseph's brothers, the ones who sold him, came to Egypt begging for food. They stood before him without recognizing him, bowing down to him, exactly like his dream had said. And Joseph wept. Not from anger, not from revenge. He wept because he finally understood something that took years of pain to see clearly. He said to his brothers, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Every pit, every chain, every prison wall, every false accusation, every year of waiting in the dark, none of it was wasted. All of it was preparation." So let me ask you something before you close this video. What pit are you sitting in right now? What did someone do to you that felt like a betrayal you'd never recover from? What prison, whether physical, emotional, financial, has had you convinced that your story is over? Joseph's story didn't end in the pit. It didn't end in the prison. It ended in the palace. And yours is not over yet. Amen.